All right, what is going on, everyone, and welcome back to more Black Desert. So today we are going to be looking at the Global Labs patch notes for November 24th, so that was a few days ago. And I haven't read it. We're going to skim through this together and see what it's all about. I think I've heard bits and pieces from like guildies and friends saying what's happening. And yeah, I just wanted to see what it was all about. I'll leave a link in the description if you guys want to read it on your own time as well. Basically, just Google Global Labs for Black Desert and then Google translate this from Korean. So yeah, if something doesn't make sense, I'll do my best to try to translate it, but keep in mind this is just Google translated. So anyway, I heard that they were making some changes to the Arsha server, and basically it's going to be a little bit different because my understanding of it before was, you know how like Arsha is basically the PvP zone of grinding and whatever. And now they're going to be changing it into like groups of 5. You can't have platoons in there, and then they're going to be hiding all adventurers' names. So it's like you can even flag, or not really flag, but I guess flag on your guildies as well. So basically, let's see. Everything is displayed as strong adventurer. You're basically anonymous on here, which is whatever. I don't think this is particularly a bad thing. It's just weird. If the adventurer is a party member, their name will be displayed. Okay. If the connected server is displayed in the tooltip, the guild member's contract icon, member status, and like the guild tab. Okay, I'm not really sure. On the Arsha server, everyone except you and your party members are treated as enemies. So yeah, I knew that was coming up. I'm not sure how I feel about that, because I think it would be fine if they kept the whole platoon part of it, because like GVGs rarely happen. I understand that PvP has been going on a downhill. People aren't happy about it. And even as a new player, when I was first starting out this game, I've always been okay with like we didn't have Arsha servers, but I was okay with like, you know, dueling for spots and everything else, the normal war decks, how it worked before. This is all even before I had gear, and so it was just like a learning curve. So now that they're making it different, I don't know why they're like ruining it on the Arsha servers. That's where like things should just be free, everything should happen. So yeah, I understand why everyone is mad about the whole PvP changes, but I also like I see it from both sides, and like I understand people don't want to get griefed and everything, but this is the Arsha server and things should just be like whatever. So the speech bubble above the character's head is not displayed when chatting. I didn't think that was ever a problem. Skills that benefit allies only apply to the party. What does that mean? Isn't that how it always worked? Guild skills, passive, actives are applied the same way as before. And during PvP, the Arsha servers between War and Guild, the increase in kill death records between is the same as... Why did you even add these two lines if nothing is changing? But okay. Character improvements. So today's patch changed the rules for the speed reduction effects. Now in PvP, the speed reduction does not overlap with skills. Only specialization effects overlap. And apply to a maximum of 60, 50 for technology. Okay. So I remember this actually being an issue with some other classes before. Like you could actually like almost 100% hard slow people in PvP. And I think that was a good change that they made it from like 100 to a little bit of a nerf, because not all classes can actually do that. So I think it was a good change, and I think that really only affected like wizards and witches, where they could just hard slow you like actually 100% almost to it. So I think that's good. Character skills cannot be duplicated. Okay. The speed reduction of effects cannot be overlaps with speed reduction. Okay. I think what this means, the higher intensity of effect, the higher it is judged to be. So it's like, if you're using something with like a 70% slow or 60 versus like a 30% slow, it'll just take the higher one. That's how I read it. I don't really know too much about the class changes, but I just know DK isn't getting any more nerfs than it already is, because we read the patch notes last time, and basically it was like, okay, so we're gonna get all these PvE buffs, and then DK is gonna get slammed, and that was mostly for Awakening, but let's just see all this. Admittedly, I don't really know most other classes aside from a few of them, so these are not. I heard Musas, actually. Musas are plums, right? I think that's what the Korean players call them. Yeah, that looks like it. Either this is either Musa or Mewa. Pretty sure it's Musa though. I heard they were getting changed, and I saw a lot of other content creators playing them, so I figured it was something either good or they're just doing comparison testings. Hash getting changed. That looks like a PvE buff, or just a buff in general. I always thought Hissashins were pretty good. I just never got into it, but I heard they were solid. Fighter. Man. I think this either means Striker or Mystic. I think this is... Let's figure this out. So, okay, so Striker is basically like fire. Mystic is like water. So I was just trying to like find keywords into here. Figure it out. Oh boy, Megu is getting changed. As we all know, Wusa, Megu, pretty top tier PvEers, and I'm always interested in seeing how they get changed. Admittedly, I think Megu is a lot better in PvP than PvE, whereas Wusa is the opposite, like really strong in PvE and just above average in PvP. So, looks like a lot of these are just getting PvE buffs. Admittedly, I'm not familiar with all these skills, but I think that's good. Alright, so now we're going into the items. Oh, is this just like a new cosmetic outfit? Or something else that you can get in-game? That's cool. Logia. Okay, so Logia gear is something, and the blue gear is improved to be more intuitive. What does that mean? My stance on life skilling gear is always, if you are a beginner life skiller, you should always go into the Logia route. I know there is min-maxing in terms of, like, let's say there's those magical tools, special magical tools that you could buy off the market for like 20k, super easy to get. But I always thought that mastery for Monos is worth a little bit more than the extra like percent gathering rate. And so the way I got this, like, I've been life skilling before life skill gear was even a thing. So here's how I did it back in the day. So first, I remember this, like, it came out with Logia first, and then we had to wait like 2 or 3 weeks, and then they came out with blue gear. Then a few more weeks passed, and then they came out with Monos. So even as a new player now, I would start with Logia and then transition straight into Monos, because the cost of enhancing the blue gear is not really worth it, to the point where the only time you should buy blue gear is if you find a pen, like whatever life skill you're looking for, off the market. So if you could just straight up buy a pen, it is worth more than a Tet Monos, I believe, and significantly cheaper. So I wouldn't recommend enhancing it yourself. The only things I would recommend like making are probably Logia, because it's pretty cheap to do, and of course sometimes you just have to make Monos yourself, so that's one of those things. I would always just skip blue tier quality life skill gear in general, so that's okay. The Calpheon coin, the event thingies for the, what is it, Calpheon Ball event thingy, I think that's ending. Black Shrine. Ooh, I'm actually interested in seeing this one, because for some classes, doing the weekly bosses is very easy. For example, like Wusa, Shy, Zerkers will have no trouble doing Calamity 7s, whereas classes like Dark Knight, you can do them, but like the skill gap has to be higher. And like, I really wish they would just remove the whole enrage timer for Calamity 7s and up in the future. The reasoning why is just because it's impossible to balance all the classes PvE wise, and so like having an enrage timer, just, you know, that is one of those things. Obviously, all Pearl Abyss has to do is look at the leaderboards for the classes, see which one is doing better, like Awakening or Succession for every class, and then see which ones can't even complete the Calamity 7 bosses. So yeah, like for example, some of the Calamity 7s for Dark Knight, it's just really hard with the full what is it, like you have to be full buffed and everything, elixired, and you just have to really know how to play your classes, whereas you could go in on a Shy and just like cut the time down in half, as the same, like if you have the same gear, some classes just straight up better. So remove the enrage timer, that will probably allow more people to complete it, and I think that is overall a good thing. You don't even have to change the damage mechanics, just remove the enrage timer. So with this one, Gumiho, Nine-Tailed Fox, this one is pretty difficult actually. I think it is a very good fight in terms of a balance of not getting one-shot mechanics versus the amount of mechanics you have to do. So I think this is a good fight overall. The number of hits from the Gumiho boss is consolidated 25 to 50%. So kind of like the Golden Pig that they had last week. It's less hits, but if you get hit, you take more damage. The final hit of some attacks got removed. What does final hit of some attacks mean? I guess we'll figure that out. Admittedly, like, Gumiho is one of those things, if you try to do it on Calamity 6 or 7, it does actually take quite a bit of time. Is it dark? I wish I knew what that boss meant. If I had to take a wild guess, which bosses are dark? Oduxini, which is the crow boss in the main town. So I think that is actually a good thing, because there's a lot of random garbage just happening. So actually, let's take a quick look at the Black Shrines. Which boss? Okay, this could either mean Oduxini or Apex. I think Apex is also one of those things you like fight at night. Admittedly, like Apex, I don't even really understand half of the mechanics. I know there's like one where it stands in the center, and you have to kill the ads, and then the big like whatever those things are that drop a puddle. And so yeah, those are like, I don't really understand what the burn phases are for some of them are. But this is either Apex, the field type attack that is created where has been modified to generate a little bit. Okay, so this is Apex. Because I understand. Hold on. The range. Both of them, Oduxini and Apex, both have like puddles when you kill the enemies. So either way, that's good. Load. I don't. How did they come up with that name? But either way, it tells you right here, Bari. All right, so excluding some of the attacks from Bari's summons, attacks have been consolidated. Less hits, more damage. I think that's okay because the Bari fight is very tricky, and especially for newer players who don't understand like how everything works. Having to dodge like Gumiho's breath and what is Duoxini's slam plus the little hammer thingy that comes out of the sky. That was a lot of like AoEs on the ground. So I think that if you can actually dodge out of a lot of stuff, you're doing fine. So one thing I would actually change, it's more of a mechanic thing, but some classes do it better than the others, is the mechanic on Calamity 6, well, I guess it's in all of them, but it's more like actually relevant in 6+, is when she says something about the forest and you have to go back into the center, do about like 30% to the tree, and then she gets stunned. I think she should remove the vacuum for that attack. And sometimes I remember when it first came out, that fight was a little bugged in terms of like you would do the amount of damage, but you either had like 2 seconds to do it, or sometimes people had like 15 seconds to do it, and I don't understand why, but I hope it's just more consistent in the future. Final hit of some attacks by Bari and summons has been removed. I wish I knew what that meant. Amugi. Admittedly, Amugi is one of the more challenging bosses. It doesn't have an enrage timer, which I think is good. However, I think the arena for that fight is very small, and like some classes is just really hard to do. Like every class can do it. It's just a lot harder for some than others. And you know how the arena is like a hexagon? So I think they actually changed it because it would spawn on certain corners during like a mechanic phase, and so it wasn't like on a flat area. And like so, like let's say there's a wall over here, it wouldn't spawn there, but like on the side of that wall, which I think is one thing they changed. But yeah, this is kind of an annoying fight, and I just hate doing it, especially on Dark Knight. So when Amugi collects energy in the stone lanterns, as like the 3-color mechanic, it has been changed to only deal additional damage to the guard near the stone lantern. The left, center, and right hits are total damage is 10% compared to before. It has been reduced. Okay, less damage, but everything is out to get you still. Noted. One thing actually for Amugi that I would recommend, or the hardest part, I guess for me, is finding out where it spawns. Because like when it's swimming in the river in the circle, and it just comes out and shoots right down the middle, it's like there is a not a notification, but like an indicator where the bubbles in the water come up, and you can just see like the water rising. But it's very tricky when you're doing like 7 different mechanics, and then yeah, I just wish it was a little bit more noticeable. But the attack range when it performs its charging attack has been reduced. I think assuming the charging attack is like when it comes up out of the water and just like shoots right down the center of the arena. Okay. So Golden Pig. Fixed an issue where the Golden Pig stopped attacking and used another attack when it's close to the target. Basically, it's animation canceling and then it's doing something else. Alright, that's good. Cool, I guess. They did recently do a fix for that one a week ago, so it's getting changed again. Sangoon, the tiger. Strike numbers have been integrated. However, some fatal attacks have been excluded. So as you guys know, Sangoon is basically a fight where all you have to do is know your iframes and then look at the indicator on the screen. It's like you feel a chilling spine and you just turn backwards. That means it's going to be behind you. So I like that boss is just an iframe check. Do you know how to play your character? Then you'll do fine. I think it's the easiest of the green bosses. And the damage of the mountains has been changed to 20 to 35% compared to before. Fatal attacks are excluded. When they say fatal attacks, I think that means like one-shot mechanics, and the only thing I can think of is one, you know, the rock phase where you have to stand behind it and it does 2 waves, and if you're not behind it, it's just over. And the final like 10%, you know how like everything's happening at once and you have a timer to actually beat the boss before it just kills you. I assume those are the only 2 fatal attacks that they're talking about. Some of the effects have been modified to match the effect range. I have noticed that, like, I've been hit out of the red circle. That goes for a lot of bosses, not just Sengun, but I think that's good. The green artisan gathering minigames. So things are getting changed. Now, before I read this, I want to say that some of the mini games, you know how, like, if you use 10 energy, you get, like, 10 times the rewards or something of that. So some of the mini games have a timer, some of them don't, which is kind of weird. Some of them are harder to do than the others, which is kind of wild itself. So one thing I would do to fix all of the life skill mini games is either remove the timer or just like make them easier. Because, you know, what is it? If any of you have been truffle gathering or just using that tool in general, you know the mini game is a memory game, which is fine itself. Locky arrows, if anyone's done it, you're fine. However, fluid gathering is literally pressing your space bar 3 times. And then, like, who designed these games? They're not even equally similar. All right, so gathering. The number of routes has been reduced from 5 to 7 to 4 to 5. So they're reducing the difficulty and increasing the game progress to 20 to 25 seconds. I think that, like, realistically, they should just remove the entire timer, because this one does not even compare to, like, fluid collecting difficulty. This one is significantly harder. Admittedly, if you are truffle gathering, to profit is a little bit higher, but, like, it's still not. It shouldn't be that time consuming. The board movement animation when starting the minigame has been removed. Admittedly, I haven't done that as much to notice. You can start the minigame right away by pressing a key while the picture is displayed. Cool. I guess the reason why they have a timer is because you could just screenshot it and look at it. But, like, if that's the case, it doesn't really matter, because, well, comparing it to the other games where you just press the spacebar 3 times, whereas you still have to pull up the screenshot and then copy it, which still takes like triple the time. So it's like, who cares? Or just make this dumb game easier. Change that so that if only the roots are exposed, it will succeed regardless of whether or not the soil is dug up. Okay, so the minigame is... Okay, well, cool. Felling. Game time has been increased from 10 to 15 seconds. The speed at which the gauge fills has been... What life skill is this? Okay, so this is mining, tanning, butchering, sap collection. Oh, okay. Game time has been increased from 15 to 20 seconds. I think this is a fair change, honestly. Kind of wish they would just remove the timer, but it is what it is. Like, you just poke the dots on the screen and then things happen. The speed at which skinning knife falls with no key is pressed changed to be gentle. Okay. Okay, so this one is butchering. Game time has been increased. That's never really the problem, but cool. The gauge filling time. Okay, so you know how, like, if you... It's gonna be a weird analogy, but so you know, if you're like driving, you see your like speedometer just go up and down like on your speed. That's kind of how this mini game is. It goes like up and down. But you know what's weird? Like for some people, I don't have this problem, but for some people, like when it goes down, it like you just feel like your accuracy going up, whereas if it's going up, it's just harder to hit. So it's been changed. The correct number of pictures of meat has always been changed to remain at 3. Yeah, I've noticed that sometimes there's only like 1 or 2 correct things to hit. It's always been 3. And before it used to be you had to do 3 in a row. So now you just have to do 3, which that has been changed already. So I think that's a good thing. Change that so when creating a picture of the correct answer, 1 image is always attached. Okay. The gauge filling time has been increased from 1.2 to 1.8 seconds. The gauge has been changed to fill by 40% when making it perfect. This is literally fluid collecting. Why is this even changed, dude? Just press the space button in the center 3 times, maybe 4 if you miss one, and then it's fine. What is the problem? You know, like everyone who's done life skilling knows which mini games are harder than the others. Sap collection, fluid collecting, not the one that needed a change. Okay, ocean content. We have added a colony of young sea kings to the in the world. One thing that I actually want to do is find that siren boss that came out like I think last week, and I want to actually do it. However, there is no like set spot for it. You just kind of have to play with your game sound on, which like instantly cuts out about like 50% of the players, because I usually play with my game sound off unless I'm recording. So you have to actually play with the sound on when you want to do that. You have to find like the song, because you know sirens, you get it, makes sense, and then you find it. But I wish they put an area where the boss would spawn, so at least you know you're in the right area, and you still have to find it. But it's like some people have been saying they found it all the way from like Vel all the way to mid barter areas, which is fine, but like no one really knows the set spawns of it. It's just kind of out in the ocean. But yeah, I've seen some screenshots of people getting rewards from it. Is it worth your time? Not really. You need the mono sailing book that's new, but that's about it. Ocean monsters have been changed. The maximum health has been reduced. I have been ocean sailing a couple of years ago, and I have videos of it. So I do actually have experience with ocean content, and I can probably give some pretty accurate information for it. Oh no, they added titles for this. God, I remember. I wish I had the titles for when I did saltwater crocodiles a while ago, because I was trying to upgrade my boat gear to like blue Carrack one, and you have to be in the ocean if you don't like doing bartering a lot. So they added titles, more titles. I suppose I should probably do this one, because this is the new siren boss. But the maximum health of the monsters below have been reduced by 80%. You know, that's weird, because all of these bosses weren't ever the ones that I've ever had issues. Like Hekarus generally just stay in the same spot. 9 sharks are a little bit annoying, but like it's not a big deal. Candidums, no problem. The young ones, usually if you have a Carrack, you can like 1-2 shot them without any issues. So don't know why they reduced it. I guess it's a guarantee 1-shot for everything now. Interesting. Sea turtle colony. The colony is the territory for young Candidums, Iron Tooth, and 9 sharks. Oh, so I guess it's over there. Interesting. Okay. Hekaru has washed up near Velia. If you defeat it, you get rewards. Okay. More XP. Weeklies. Oh, it actually gives you crow coins now? That's cool. Back when I got my character, I had to do my dailies for like 3 months straight. Now they just kind of give you free handouts. Good for new players. I don't mind the change. I already have my thing. The cumulative number of changes of colorful rock salt ingots. These are probably going to be your bottlenecks, and colorful pearl crystals have been changed. After 3,000 and 5,000 trades. So I guess let me show you. So for sailing and bartering, basically your accumulated trades number is over here, and then you filter by all of this. So yeah, make sure to do that. I haven't been sailing in at least over a year, but there's a lot of interesting changes. Aquila commemorative coin. If you have 50 coins, you can exchange them. Yeah, just get the things you need. Tiers are probably going to be the ones that people don't like doing. Everything else you can get by... Well, not all of them, but relatively easy. The amount of experience that can be gained has been increased depending on the number of sailors. I think if you are taking sailing seriously, you should actually go 10 sailors. I personally do 10 confident because I like boat turn speed a lot more than everything. I did not know you can have 20 sailors now. I actually thought the cap was 10. Admittedly, I haven't really kept up with that. But if you can get 20 sailors and your turn speed and just movement speed in general is like mega fast, that's cool. So I guess realistically, 11 and up is what you should get. Obviously, having more probably means you can have faster boat stats, but like 11 and up is where you're supposed to be at. Old Moon Grand Prix, the horse racing. I've literally never done that, to be honest. I watch some streamers do it a few times. I'm like, that thing doesn't even fill unless you're a streamer. So wild. A grave where thoughts sleep. Is this Crypt of Resting Thoughts? I think I've seen that name before. High accuracy requirement. Okay, this is Crypt of Resting Thoughts because this is like high accuracy. I've been there, trust me. I have a video of me testing it without accuracy crystals, and accuracy is like straight misses for days, even with like 310 plus AP. So yeah, these are very high-end Deboreka spots, and the correction of accuracy. I think they want to lower it, and they're reducing the monster's evasion and its vitality to an appropriate level, so all classes can do it. Just get more accuracy. It's fine. It's like, yeah, it is one of those things where you do need to build differently, but I'm glad they're nerfing it. So, if I remember correctly, the accuracy recommended was like 910 or 930. Well, actually, I don't. It's like, I remember. Oh, wait, that could be Ulakita. But either way, there was like a number that I remembered. So, I'll just have to watch my old video before. Additional mobs. Cool. Dailies changes. Background NPCs. An issue where the dreams Pegasus would intermittently disappear while falling. I've noticed that. I didn't think it was a big deal, but cool. Fixes and changes. Cool. All right, well, that has been the patch notes for the global labs for this week, and that's all I wanted to talk about. I know this video was like 35 minutes, and so hopefully you guys stuck around for most of it. Thanks again so much for watching. If you're new to your channel, welcome. Hit that subscribe button. I try to make videos for new players, returning players, and people who are looking to get better at the game, so hopefully on the channel there's something for you, no matter what stage of the game you're at. And yeah, we got some more cool stuff coming tomorrow. As you all know, the new Ulakita grind spot, artifacts, new shoes coming out. And it's more for endgame players, but I think that anyone will be excited for this eventually. So yeah, we'll be doing some cool stuff in the near future. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.